I'm Amy.
I'm Wendell.
And I'm Patrick.
And
this is
Yes,
But Why?
Podcast.
Yeah, like living with him, living with my roommate, and his son's over probably 4 nights a week, if not more. Like sometimes his mom goes on vacation and stuff, so we keep him more. But he never really cries. But when he does cry, it's for something silly. It's for something that he thinks he deserves to have. And when he does cry for that stuff, it hit me, and I don't know how to feel about this. I've been trying to like roll this around. I love hearing a child or baby cry for something that it doesn't need to have. Like, I don't want to hear a baby cry because it's hurt or like because of something, because it's hungry or whatever. But when a kid has something taken away from it because it was either being a brat or it's time to go and we have to like pack stuff up and it starts crying, I love that sound. What is that, Amy?
I think that you're going to be a good parent, to be honest with you, because Chris and I laugh about it all the time, because when he's screaming for something that's ridiculous, we just yell back. So like he'll go, ah! And we just go, ah! Like, in his face. And because it's like, you're not logically getting this thing.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be, he'll grab something on the ground that's like, cat fur, or like he'll put his hand in something, and you're like, no, okay, we can't do that.
Yeah.
And he'll just be like, why not? And we're just like, it's too bad. Like,
yeah, I was like ruminating on the idea. I was like, okay, so what is this? Are you a demon? Like that's all I was like, who likes hearing a baby cry, Wendell? That's terrible. And then I started thinking about it, and it's like I was a big brat. And I think like as a child, and I realized that every time that kind of crying happens, the kind of crying where it's like they don't understand how like they don't get to have everything that they want, and like when that kind of crying happens, that's like a growing moment for them.
yeah,
Like that is them growing up a little bit. That's them learning a lesson that will help them down the line somewhere. Like
yeah. Really interestingly, the thing that has blown my mind the most about being a parent since the very beginning is that the initial emotion that a person feels is anger.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basis of everything. And that blows my mind. Like, I am always trying to like work on my anger and like, but to realize that it's so innate, that it's so like natural and within you, and that like that's literally what propels you forward to do anything. So like I was saying before, when he cries, but I can look over at him and I can tell he's just trying to do something and it's hard, so he's pissed about it. I let him be pissed and yell because he needs to let that anger motivate him to sit up or roll over or finally crawl forward, like whatever it might be. Yeah. And it kills me and really realigned the way I imagine talking to him and teaching him, because, I try to be a calm person, deal with my anger in my own way, but I mean, to acknowledge that you have to embrace it to let yourself change and move forward and become better is fucked up. It just exploded my brain when it occurred to me.
Oh, no, yeah, and I mean, like, that's got to be a hard lesson for some people to let their kids learn, Like, that was the whole thing, is I was like, if I have a kid and I'm like that, is my wife just going to think that she married a sociopath, or she sired a child with this monster? And it's like,
I don't know.
Again, like, if I ever see him fall, like my godson, if I ever see him fall and hurt himself, I run to him and I pick him up and I do the whole like, oh, it's all right, that's kind of thing. But the thing is, he hardly ever cries when he hurts himself, because one thing that his dad was telling me about, like, that comes with autism, because his dad has Asperger's and kind of grew up in a similar sort of range, was when he would fall and hurt himself, he wouldn't cry. And, like, his family, his parents, his mom and dad would find him with all these, like, cuts and scrapes on him. But, like, had no idea where it came from, because when he got those cuts and scrapes, he actually didn't cry. And I was like, what's that about? What, like, you guys feel pain differently? And he said a big part of it was that, like, a lot of the times a kid cries when they scrape their knee, like, if they fall and scrape their knee, because they feel personally attacked by reality or the ground or whatever. Like, it's like... They have this.
I believe that it's true, but it's so funny.
I mean, you have such an inflated sense of self that, like, how dare gravity let you do that, you know? And he said,
how dare this concrete scrape my knee?
Yeah.
My perfect, beautiful knee.
And he said he just looked at the world so, like, realistically, so early on that, like, yeah, no, it's like he never had that moment where he just was like, how dare that happen to me? And yeah, like, it would take something really painful for him to cry, but, like, any small, like, scrape, because a lot of times, and, you know, Dallas isn't, like, moving around a whole lot yet, but, like, a lot of the times I've noticed with my nieces and nephews, you know, when they're learning to walk and they fall and they kind of have, like, a moment where it, like, looks like it might have hurt a little bit, they kind of look to the adult to see what their reaction gets to be.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if the adult's like, oh no, then they go ahead and let the waterworks come. But, like, if you kind of do that thing where you, like, jingle keys in front of them and sort of, like, distract it, or just like, hey, all right, good job, and then just, like, you know, not acknowledge it as the moment that it could be, then yeah, like, a lot of times they'll just move on, you know. But, like, yeah, he talked. So, like, my godson hardly ever, like, falls down and cries anymore. But yeah, those moments where he does cry, normally it's just because he feels like he should have something that he doesn't need to have, or something, you know? Like, we have a dog now, and my godson is terrified of the dog. Like,
Sure. I don't love dogs.
The dog's a puppy. That's the only problem. The dog's just super all over him is the only thing. Like, not in an aggressive way, he just is all over everything. And so, like, he has these moments where, like, we'll put the dog up, and then Sawyer kind of feels like he controls the existence of that dog, I guess, with lack of object permanence and things like that, you know? It's like, if he just gets pissy about the dog when we put the dog up. And so he gets big for his britches and will kind of, like, look for other shit to just run, and he has a big thing about my washer and dryer right now. He likes like, my dryer door opens out, so, like, he likes opening it and then sitting on the door.
Oh.
Yeah, which is, I just got that dryer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, that's a good way to break that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to be the fun godfather and never ever be the source of, like, any kind of punishment or, you know, bummer. And I have to like reprimand him on that, you know?
Yeah.
And all it is just saying, Sawyer, no, stop. And he'll just start, and it'll make his eyes water, like, in like a way that is like, he can't stand to hear that out of me. And I remember him just like, and he just kind of dropped to the floor and started crying, and I was just like, I just turned the TV up a little bit louder. Like, that was the only thing. I was watching Lord of the Rings, and I made him cry, and I was just like, and just turned it up so I couldn't hear him crying anymore, and just let him flounder on the ground. And then he eventually just got up and started doing something else. Because all I did was say no, and I remember as a bratty kid hating the word no.
Sure. Just
the word no on its own. Like,
I think you open, like, everyone at birth opens with a big sense of self-importance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we gotta baptize him. Gotta wash away that shit.
You're just like everyone else, Dunk.
Yeah, no, that's why Catholics have to, because you come in being so greedy and selfish, right? That's sort of like the original sin, right? Is to think you are the most important thing. So that's why if a baby dies before you baptize it, it goes to hell. Isn't that what Catholics think?
They go to limbo.
Limbo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because the idea being that we are giving babies a lot more credit than those people gave babies.
Yeah.
They say babies were in limbo because there just wasn't anything protecting them, and then the baptism created some sort of spiritual protection for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I baptized my baby for my grandmother, for his grandmother, my husband's mom, who I knew wanted it. So I was like, sure,
yeah,
you got it. Don't you worry about a thing. That seems fine. If he wants to be part of that crowd, he's got a crowd he's, like, part of or whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares?
No,
It's all good to me.
Michelle asked me. Michelle thinks that, like, Michelle has talked to me about like raising our kids Catholic, and I'm like,
Well, she's a believer, right?
yeah, she's big time believer, and I'm like, I try not to fight her too much on it. My only issue is sending him like Catholic school. That's the only thing. Like, I don't mind him going to mass every Sunday and all of that stuff. I just kind of don't. I just feel like the education and the spirituality should stay separated. That's the only way we kind of like bump heads. But she's like, well, I'm going to baptize him, and I was like, yeah, you should. He's my kid. What do you like? I am not siring something that has an immediate entry into heaven. I think like sins of the father are going to weigh heavily on my child if all of this how it's not okay. Good, because I was like, it might just be me and my kid at the end of the rapture, just like, and him just looking at me like, what the hell, man?
No, there's no sin to the father. I mean, most generations have thought so along the way. That's a big theme in literature and shit. But I don't think so. I mean, that wouldn't make any sense.
A lot of it doesn't already, though. Like, inherently, a lot of it
No, you're right. You're right. But I just mean, like, the sense of, anybody else's crimes being on your head. It's like, no, we all have plenty of time. Even in the years when people only lived to be 45, that was enough time to fuck it up real hard regularly.
Yeah, not to have to start at a disadvantage at birth. Yeah.
Though I suppose the idea of original sin is the disadvantage we all have.
That goes back to the first birth.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Somebody, I wish I could remember what this was in reference to. Somebody on Facebook the other day was talking about something very, like it was like a superhero movie or something, and like made an original sin reference, and I was all like, oh my god! Like, I was just like, wow, this shit affects us so much more deeply than we want to allow.
Oh boy. Yeah, and like, I'm interested. The thing is like, I think her and I are going to find a good compromise, because whenever she makes me go to mass, or asks me to go to mass, I should say, because it's not really making me. Because honestly, because like, I don't know anything about Catholicism, and it all is kind of brand new and shiny to me, even though it's like the oldest thing in the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sweet song and dance and ritual up in there.
Oh boy, man, we went to this thing for her mom. Her mom went on this thing called an Axe Retreat, which is like it's like a weekend ladies Catholic jamboree dealing. Awesome. Yeah, everybody goes to get closer to God.
Jamboree. They pray a lot. It's a jamboree of prayer.
Everybody goes on this. They go on this basically like weekend getaway where they all get a little closer to God.
Sure.
And Michelle asked me if I would go to the end ceremony or whatever.
Oh.
And I was like, of course. And this is like, they actually didn't know that they would be seeing all of the family and stuff. Like they and it was really sweet. But okay, so we're in this very, very old church, and we're hanging out and stuff. And everybody's talking. The congregation is pretty much full. Like, all the pews are full and everything. And everybody's just talking, waiting for this to start. And this little old nun comes from, like, the back. This little old lady, like, just hobbles up. It takes her, like, 5 minutes to get up to the thing. And I was like, oh, okay, it's about to start. And everybody kind of stops talking when she goes up to the microphone. And she just told everybody that they were being too loud and they were in God's house. And then she just left. She had nothing to do. She had nothing to do with the actual Axe Retreat. This little old lady was like, what is wrong with you people? This is God's house. Be respectful. And then just went back to whatever she was doing in the back. And I was like, now that's I love that kind of stuff. Like, that's sort of like, I love the fact that this like little old lady just made a hush fall across the crowd, and then everybody felt terrible for just chit-chatting while they're waiting for the thing to happen,
Yeah.
And I was like, and every time it's Catholic Church is like, that pagan aspect is really interesting to me too. Like, the whole like, all the gold and taffeta, and like there's like this giant like Raiders of the Lost Ark looking ass book Bible that they read out of, and everybody knows the chants, and I don't know, it's like, it seems magical to me. So like, that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, let our kids be Catholic, whatever, like, to the extent of they're gonna know shame no matter what. Just because that's that's how my girlfriend operates. That's how it's gonna be. I love you, baby, but yeah. Quality
guilting is a helpful tool for anybody, really. It'll get us all. There are few people who won't react to being made to feel guilty.